CBS Sports presents a holiday stocking stuffer of hoops inside the Value City Arena in Columbus, Ohio. It's the 8th-ranked Jayhawks of Kansas in to take on their beloved Buckeyes of Ohio State. I can't think of anywhere I'd rather spend the holidays than with Special K, Clark Kellogg, and Greg Anthony. Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Brando. And, gentlemen, what can we expect this afternoon?
Well, both of these teams, guys, pride themselves on defense, but they also average just under 80 points a game. I'm looking for this to be played on roller skates.
And two teams a season ago in the Final Four, both with their eyes on the prize this year, and maybe not as talented, but I think have an opportunity to better than last year's version.
We do know this. Deshaun Thomas has elevated himself on the opposition's scouting report.
With a bullet, because he leads this Buckeyes team in scoring and rebounding. He's a terrific all-around scorer, actually improving as an all-around player, but he can put it in the basket, folks.
He really can. And, folks, when you look at Jeff Withey, don't let the boyish good looks fool you. He is an enforcer on the interior. We talk a lot about assist-to-turnover ratio. How about his blocks to fouls ratio, over 5-to-1 on the season?
All right, if the game is going to be played at a fast pace, how about some AT&T fast-paced analysis?
And, Timmy, I think fast is going to be the key for Kansas. This is their first true road game of the season. You want to take the crowd out of the game, speed it up, get out in transition, and get some easy baskets.
Points in the paint is what I'm looking at. Kansas averages 18 more points in the paint per game than the opponents. The Buckeyes have to close that gap here today.
These teams are going to play faster than I can talk. And we've got the opening tip when we come back to Columbus right after this. CBS Sports college basketball coverage is sponsored by Lexus. This is the pursuit of perfection. State Farm, for auto, home, life, and banking. Get to a better state. And by AT&T. Rethink possible.
Can feel it when we wake up. We're all traveling, 'cause tonight we're sitting around the table.
The holiday when we're able.
Something in the air, something in the air. It's Christmas in the air that keeps us together.
They'll see you before you see them. Cops are cracking down on drinking and driving. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Veggies on game day is like punting on 4th and 1. It's a cop-out, and secretly, people kind of hate you for it. Introducing Taco Bell's Variety Taco 12-pack. 6 crunchy tacos and 6 Doritos Locos tacos. A game day tradition since right now.
Do you ever wish we had iPads to practice math more?
I love math.
But 2 iPads means 2 data plans. That's crazy.
Maybe not. With AT&T Mobile Share, adding an iPad is just $10 a month.
But honestly, Mom and Dad's love is all I really need.
We should keep these for us.
We should keep these.
What?
AT&T Mobile Share. Add an iPad for just $10 a month. One plan, up to 10 devices. AT&T. Rethink possible.
Goodyear, for drivers like these who demand the most from their tires. And everything we've learned making these tires inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven.
Now in his 10th year and coming off a trip to the finals, already with a national championship in his hip pocket, Bill Self with a lineup that is senior-laden, but his best player is a freshman. It's Relaford, McLemore, and Elijah Johnson at the point, with Withey inside the complimentary player Kevin Young. Thad Matta is doing a marvelous job with this lineup. Linzel Smith, Aaron Kraft, Sam Thompson, and then up front, Ravenel, Thompson, and Deshaun Thomas. Thad Matta has the best winning percentage among Big Ten coaches since he came into the league, and a pair of trips to the Final Four for him, including last year, losing by 2 in the national semifinals to this Kansas team. 4 Final Four trips among our officiating crew, Higgins, Zanzier, and Oglesby, and we're underway.
Both of these teams will play man-to-man defense and look to push it at every opportunity.
Johnson has a great stroke. That comes off the back iron. Tapped out and run down by Linzel Smith Jr., only to have it knocked away by Relaford. Every 50-50 play will be important to both of these coaches today.
Effort won't really be an issue for this game, but one thing from Kansas' standpoint, they have not been a good rebounding team the way that Bill Self would like to see them. Is this the opportunity for them to maybe have a breakout game on that offensive glass?
Well, in my mind, guys, this is a benchmark game. Both of these teams are giving themselves grade on how they perform in the areas that give you a chance to win against another high-level opponent.
Each team has lost once. Both felt they should have won the 2 they lost and really haven't been challenged since.
Right. Kansas lost to Michigan State down in Atlanta, and the Buckeyes lost at Duke in late November.
McLemore off the curl, and he drains the tray.
And then how about the execution there? Again, 4 seniors in that starting lineup. How rare is it to have a major college program that starts 4 seniors? Bill Self has that luxury working for him today.
And then his redshirt freshman, the guy you just saw spray that jump shot, McLemore, may be the best player on the floor.
Thomas off the back rim. Elijah Johnson spreading down the floor. McLemore off the skip pass was bothered defensively by a most bothersome player in college basketball, Aaron Craft.
Probably the best perimeter defender in the country. He is just relentless at attacking you when you have the ball.
He's physical, Greg, and he has tremendous lateral quickness. So guys aren't able to get around him, and then he's strong enough that if you do get half a shoulder by, he can body you back out of position.
That time on the blow-by, Young stepped in with some help. I think it will be controlled. The Kansas fans thought it might have been deflected.
And from a strategy standpoint, if you're Kansas, what you want to do is make Aaron Craft a scorer. If you go back to that Duke game, he was only 3 of 15 from the field. If he can't facilitate at times, Ohio State can struggle offensively.
Yeah, that's a good point, and he struggled scoring the ball in his last 3 games as we get an offensive foul call on the Jayhawks here.
Kevin Young with the illegal pick.
Yeah, looking at Kraft, the last 5 games, just 23 points on 9 of 27 shooting. But he does have 26 assists and only 7 turnovers. So you're right, Greg. He's much more comfortable facilitating and leading without necessarily looking to score for his team.
Dogged by Johnson, Kraft pulls up and sets up the half court.
And we haven't talked about it, but Elijah Johnson is not a slouch from a defensive standpoint either. He gets after it on the corner.
Off the baseline comes Sammy Thompson, the sophomore from Chicago. Thad Matta says he may be the best athlete he's ever had at Ohio State.
And he may be the X factor in this game. We know about Linzel Smith and Deshaun Thomas's ability to score it consistently. Can he be that 3rd option for the Buckeyes?
McLemore trying to create, has it knocked away. Thompson again, the pirouette, but rejected by Withy.
Good opportunity, though, by Ohio State to try to attack in transition.
And here, beautiful spin move, and then look at the control of the body by Withy.
Yeah. Ravenel and Withy banging each other inside. Good job by Evan Ravenel to keep a body on Withy. That'll be something to keep an eye on, too, guys, the physicality in this game.
By the way, that was Withy's 55th block. He has 11 fouls all season long. How about that for a ratio?
Yeah, you talk about the sabermetrics lovers out there. That's a major number. 5-to-1 blocks to foul.
Well, that's a nice look from Young into Withy. Stays with it, tips it back through with the left hand.
And we talk about his impact from a defensive standpoint, but there's where the improvement, maybe the most improved player in America. When you look at him offensively, you would have never thought they would go to him as an offensive player.
Kansas by 2. 3 minutes gone here in Columbus. Haven't called Thomas's name much with Relaford checking him. Running into switch after switch. Now double teamed. Linzel Smith comes away with a loose ball. Rebound to Withy. Tough outlet saved by Relaford. What a play! What an effort play by Relaford.
But also the instincts by Withy, the quickness on the catch, and then to lead Relaford. And then you're right, he made a terrific touch there to keep the ball alive, and then the presence to finish in the open floor.
You talk about special. Special K, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was real sweet. The long outlet pass right away, and then the instinctive play by Relaford to get himself all the way to the rim.
Kraft thought that he was going to find Ravenel, but he was not there. Relaford walked that time. Trying to make the extra pass, but he walked in so doing.
Well, we talked about Kansas at the top looking to get out in transition, but first we're showing you Jeff Withy over the top. Ravenel trying to front. Beautiful pass from Kevin Young, and then Withy follows his own. And then look at Withy. Rebound, head up, outlet, and at the end of that, there was a layup for the Jayhawks.
Each team with 3 turnovers. And the defensive intensity has a little something to do with that. I believe, too, this is a big-time game.
Yeah.
Maybe a few nerves as well. Thomas. Not this time. Guarded by Young, and they've done a very nice job on Deshaun here in the early going, this Kansas team. Thompson comes away with another turnover. Thompson for 3.
Tell you what, early on, Thompson setting the tone offensively for the Buckeyes.
He has all 6 of their points. Johnson, a little leaping leaner banker.
Campbell's soup good there. On a cold, crisp day here in Central Ohio.
Yeah, we'd like to thank you for the white Christmas, Clark. The guy from West Palm in Louisiana really enjoying that.
A little brisk here in Central Ohio, but winter has started here in the Midwest.
Find the hot man, and that's Thompson. This one grazes the front iron. It's pulled away by Relaford.
Early on, Clark, Ohio State really struggling to get any type of offensive continuity.
Yeah.
Credit Kansas. They really have taken this crowd out of the game in the half court.
Beautiful.
Was that nice?
Yeah.
With the count it and a foul.
Big time execution there. Penetration by Young, and then Withy again riding his defender up the lane, and Young able to throw it over the top. Kansas off to a terrific start here in Columbus, and Jeff Withy has been in the middle of just about all of it. The Jayhawks by 5.
This December, remember, you can stay in and share something. Or you can get out there with your friends and actually share something. The Lexus December to Remember sales event is on, offering some of our best values of the year. This is the pursuit of perfection.
I love the holidays.
And with my Bank AmeriCard Cash Rewards credit card, I love them even more.
I earn 1% cash back everywhere, every time.
2% on groceries.
3% on gas, automatically.
No hoops to jump through.
That's 1% back on...
2% on pumpkin pie.
And apple.
3% back on 4 trips to the airport.
It's as easy as
1, 2, 3.
The Bank AmeriCard Cash Rewards card. Apply online or at a Bank of America near you.
Where can a marketing administrator be a watercraft engineer? Where can a doctor serve his community while also treating patients around the world? Where can a student stay in school while expanding his education beyond the classroom? In the U.S. Army Reserve, you'll find the strength to develop new skills and gain an edge to get ahead. There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong. Visit goarmy.com/reserve.
Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry here. See this larger-than-life diamond? It's there because I'm a larger-than-life jewelry store. Dan here needs a Julie. Please spend the rest of your life with me ring. Well, my selection is truly unique, including over 10,000 loose diamonds, the Tolkowski Ideal Cut, and exclusive Leo Artisan. My expert staff guided Dan to the perfect ring, which he then delivered with all of his heart.
Yes.
And that's why he went to Jared.
It's playoff pressure. For Cincy, a win and they're in. For Pittsburgh, a loss and they're out. While Denver goes for a shot at a first-round bye. Sunday on CBS.
As we mentioned, both of these teams met in last year's national semifinal. Thomas Robinson led the Jayhawks with 19. William Buford led the Buckeyes with 19. With Kansas up 2, Aaron Kraft attempted a little trickeration at the line, was called for the lane violation. And Kansas went on to win it 64-62 to advance to the national championship, only to fall to Kentucky. This week in college hoops, Jim Boeheim had the good and the bad coming later today, or earlier today, when the upset of Syracuse occurred at the Garden. And the suspension of Mike Kabongo is actually good news in a sense for Texas. Rather than losing him for the entire year, which they anticipated, he should be back for the Iowa State game by February the 13th.
Yeah, but unfortunately, 23 games is like losing him for the entire season because you still can't really prepare to have him on your roster.
No disagreement there. A nice win for Texas earlier in the week, too, against North Carolina.
They were playing Michigan State tough the last time I looked at the score of that game.
That win by Temple today for Fran Dunphy's club was huge and makes the Kansas game coming up at Fog Allen on January the 6th on CBS. A little more of a challenge, one would think, as Thomas answers with a tray.
And no coincidence that Shannon Scott's in the game, another ball handler and facilitator. Now all of a sudden you get a good look offensively for Thomas.
May have gotten away with a walk there.
And there's Shannon Scott, who has a remarkable 3-to-1, not assist to turnover ratio, Greg. 3-to-1 steals the turnover ratio. You've been a point guard at the highest levels. Have you ever seen that kind of ratio?
I've never, ever heard of that. And he has really improved markedly from a season ago for Thad Matta.
And when they're out there together, as you said, Greg, they can create havoc at both ends, he and Kraft. Defensively, they get hands on balls. They get up into players. Offensively, they can facilitate and help their teammates get good shots.
Withy has 6 now of the Jayhawks 13. Has more rebounds than the entire Ohio State team at this stage as well.
Comes in averaging 14 points and 8 boards a game, does Withy. There's Kevin Young with a nice clean board, and the Jayhawks will look to run.
He is a glass eater. Johnson, nice wraparound. Withy finds Young. Good ball reversal to McLemore.
Textbook.
Transition right there. That's the exact way, if you're Kansas, you want to attack. You want paint touches, force that defense to shrink to the level of the ball, and then you get the looks on the perimeter on the weak side.
You know what, guys? When you lose a superstar, you share the ball, don't you?
It seems that way. Bill Self was saying the exact same thing when we visited with him prior to the game. They really have done a nice job sharing the basketball.
Shannon Scott gets the kind iron. And a steal by Scott.
I think he's starting to put an imprint on this game already.
He's got his hands all over it in about 2 minutes.
I think guarding Kraft every day in practice probably helps. He's fouled off the dribble penetration.
And one of the advantages when you have 4 seniors, they play for one another, folks. They move the basketball, they make the extra pass, and it's funny how often you make jump shots when you pass the ball in rhythm.
Shannon Scott coming in off the bench, doing a nice job right at you folks off the bounce. And he has been tremendous in his impact on games coming off the bench.
Son of Charlie Scott, the first African-American player at North Carolina, Dean Smith, and rest of the family is on hand. What a wonderful guy he is. I had a chance to visit with him when I was in here for the Wisconsin game last year, but the emergence of Shannon, I think it's all about confidence now.
Yeah, you're right, Tim. It's such a fine line between being comfortable and being adequately confident.
And the other thing that's important about that is I think it takes a lot of pressure off of Aaron Crabb. I felt in the Final Four game last year he got worn down against Kansas, and I thought you saw a little bit of that even against Duke earlier in the season. He allows him to play in rhythm and not overextend himself.
McLemore again. Boy, this kid is good.
He's really good. He's special. He's got tremendous elevation, excellent poise, and a honey sweet stroke. And when you combine those things with his size and athleticism, people aren't going to be able to bother his shot.
Yeah, Clark, we call that a wetter. He's got a wetter from the perimeter.
So too does he, but that's off to the left. LaQuentin Ross.
Q, as they call him, couldn't get that one to go. And Amir Williams came down with the rebound, but they're unable to get it converted. Timeout. Over 8 minutes gone here in Columbus. It is as fast as advertised.
Beautiful dreamer, wake unto me. Starlight and dewdrops are waiting for thee.
What will you imagine with the new EOS Rebel T4i from Canon? They'll see you before you see them. Cops are cracking down on drinking and driving. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Christmas is here. We're with Chrissy talking about the low price guarantee backed by Ad Match. Your ad price is $1.99. Walmart will match that right at the register.
Fabulous.
You're Ritz. There you have it.
That's amazing.
That's the Walmart low price guarantee backed by Ad Match. See for yourself. Bring in holiday ads from your local store. See how much you could save.
Sometimes what we suffer from is bigger than we think. Like the flu. With aches, fever, and chills, the flu's a really big deal. So why treat it like it's a little cold? There's something that works differently than over-the-counter remedies. Prescription Tamiflu attacks the flu virus at its source. So don't wait. Call your doctor right away. Tamiflu is prescription medicine for treating the flu in adults and children 1 year and older whose flu symptoms started within the last 2 days. Before taking Tamiflu, tell your doctor if you're pregnant, nursing, have serious health conditions, or take other medicines. If you develop an allergic reaction, a severe rash, or signs of unusual behavior, stop taking Tamiflu and call your doctor immediately. Children and adolescents in particular may be at an increased risk of seizures, confusion, or abnormal behavior. The most common side effects are mild to moderate nausea and vomiting. The flu comes on fast, so ask your doctor about Tamiflu, prescription for flu.
Nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Don't miss NFL Monday QB, Monday at 6:30, only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Kansas leads by 6. Need a perfect last-minute gift for a sports fan? Get them a gift certificate to the CBSSports.com shop, where they can find their favorite officially licensed NCAA gear. Go to shop.cbssports.com. Well, Kansas getting it done inside largely because of their two best players, Greg.
That's a great point, Timmy. And when you look at Jeff Withey, so much is made of his impact defensively, but what makes this Kansas team special is their ability to play with him on the interior from an offensive standpoint. 6 points here to set the tone, but it's the balance that Ben McLemore provides with that wetter from the perimeter. And when you have two guys that can play this way in a team that plays for them, it makes you really, really special.
Look at the numbers today. 8 for McLemore, 6 for Withey, and field goal shooting outstanding. Then the 4 rebounds plus a block shot for Jeff. And they're out rebounding at this stage the smaller Buckeyes by a count of 8-4. And he's doing large measure to that, and he's going to get a brief blow on the sidelines. Ellis is coming to the game, joining up with Relaford. A relatively small lineup now in with Nadir Clark, the sophomore from Worcester, Mass, in the game in the backcourt. More of a prolific point, and there's an example of why.
He didn't catch it cleanly, though.
Yep, he walked.
Yep, trailer.
It was a beautiful pass.
It sure was. Unable to catch it cleanly, and I'm not sure if he actually walked there. It may have been a fumble.
That's
a little bit of a fumble. I'm not sure if it looked like a walk more than it might have actually been one.
And folks, if you don't have possession of the basketball, you cannot walk with it.
There you go.
But maybe a bad angle by the official on that play.
Kraft to pull up. the follow, not there. Bothered by Ellis, who rips down the rebound and quickly gets it into the hands of Nadir Tharp.
That's a case where Williams did a nice job on the offensive glass, but you don't need to rush just to get it back up on the rim. Take your time and get a quality shot in there.
Traylor can't get that one to fall, and Shannon Sharp looks to blow by. Shannon Scott, I beg your pardon. Just a moment with an NFL promo, I think. Right? Monday, it's Christmas Eve, and two broke girls are unwrapping their special brand of holiday cheer. Celebrate the holiday with two broke girls Monday, only CBS. We've got to work some NFL promos into this show.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nobody better than you to segue right into it smoothly.
Here's Scott. Williams there to follow, and he's fouled.
One thing I'm noticing here, guys, the officials are allowing the physicality to dictate the style of the game. And I do think that benefits Kansas, even though Ohio State's a Big Ten team and they're known for being physical. But because of the overall depth, and then you factor in the experience of Kansas, I think that benefits the road team.
First foul on Rutherford with Amir Williams. Highly thought of big man from Birmingham, Michigan, Detroit's Country Day at the free throw line. Bill Self is really one of the best at making sure his best guns have energy at the end of games. He'll freely substitute early. In traffic, not there for Johnson. Traylor the putback.
And even though Johnson doesn't score, it's the penetration that forces help that creates angles to attack on the offensive glass for the Jayhawks.
As I've watched both of these teams to this point, the game against Michigan State, Kansas was in control of that game, but couldn't control the dribble late. The same has happened with Ohio State, and that's going to be something to keep an eye on both ways. Which one of these teams can minimize dribble penetration?
Scott finds Kraft. A nice look by Shannon Scott.
And let's see if that gets Kraft going there. A nice shot in rhythm. Struggled with his shooting. He may be counted on today offensively.
From downtown with an answer. 23-17.
Park, I got to tell you, I love the purpose that Kansas plays with.
Yeah.
Even now when they bring in their younger players, they still play the way the seniors do. And
Well
that's a critical element to have if you want to go far come tournament time.
Well, we talked about penetration just a moment ago. Scott here, going to get in here and then kick it right out to Kraft for a triple. Penetration. Kraft makes himself available. All wet. He has struggled from the three-point line. And I think part of it is Aaron is working on adjusting some shot mechanics. He's done that through the summer, but continuing to work on that during the season. And it just takes a while before you fully trust it. You and I both love to play golf. All three of us enjoy playing golf. Anytime you start tinkering with your swing, it becomes a matter of when can you get comfortable with it when you actually have to get off of the driving range.
But what I do like about what Aaron Kraft's done this season is the fact that he doesn't allow his jump shot to dictate his performance in terms of making sure his team functions offensively the way they need to win basketball games.
That's his wheelhouse, really. That's what he likes to do most, is lead and defend and set up other people.
Causing a little havoc here, don't you think? Johnson off the feed from Tharp. Rutherford going after every loose opportunity, as is McLemore. Those two play so hard. McLemore on the floor now. Scott again.
Great play by Scott, but how about Amir Williams doing a great job of not allowing Withy to get over for the block. That's where you have to trust that your bigs understand. Those are the plays, they don't show up in the stat sheet, Clark, but that tells you Amir Williams is starting to figure it out.
That's right.
As a frontline player.
Seeing the game, we call it. Don't watch the game, see it and react.
Buckeyes have closed to within 2. That was a really difficult pass for Young to make. Withy unable to corral it. It'll be Ohio State's ball.
And this is a read here by Shannon Scott. You see that pin there by Amir Williams? He does a smart thing. Then he grabs Withy, just a little subtle grab there to not allow him to extend to go for that block shot. Understanding who you're playing against. That's what we call KYP. You got to know your personnel when you're out on the floor.
They're trying to get him free. And that is the vintage Deshaun Thomas jumper right there. And the Buckeyes with their first lead, 24-23.
Mitch needs some last-minute gifts. Let's see if Walmart's low prices can make this the best Christmas ever. You ready? Easy bake oven rollback, $39.96.
Ooh, can't beat that.
You're doing great for last minute. See for yourself. Shop Walmart's low prices for all your last-minute Christmas gifts. You'll see the difference.
They'll see you before you see them. Cops are cracking down on drinking and driving. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Did you know it was in when it left his hand?
You know what? I don't know how these guys are. I never wish the ball to go in. I just wish we get a good look. I'm being dead serious. And so I just wish we...
I wish it goes in.
Well,
75 years of NCAA March Madness next Saturday at 3 p.m. How about that? 9 coaches in one room. I mean, from Patino to Donovan to Lavin to Self, you name it, they're all there. Shaka Smart, John Thompson, Tom Izzo. What a fantastic group. Brad Stevens, too, all in one room with Jim Nance. You'll be able to see it next week. A spectacular show. Make sure you make an appointment viewing next Saturday. Well, you see the run, 10-3 in the last 2 minutes.
Now, what this backcourt of Scott and Kraft have done is they've sped the game up. Yes, Kansas wants to play fast in transition, but not in the half court. And when you can pressure and disrupt offensively, you're forcing Kansas to now try to attack off the dribble as opposed to allowing their offense to create offense.
Williams got caught hooking inside.
I tell you what, I love the pace that this game is being played at. The officials are doing an outstanding job allowing plenty of incidental physical contact as long as it doesn't impact speed, rhythm, and balance.
Another turnover, and here's Thompson.
That's a great look, though.
Scott! Oh, great Scott! Not Sam! Great Scott! How did he do that?
Well, when you get out in the open court, when you get a quality look early, typically the board is available if the shot doesn't go down because the defenders are scrambling.
9 turnovers by the Jayhawks. Thompson! Timeout, Kansas. Listen to this crowd.
Hey, babe.
I used to live in this apartment when the 49ers won the Super Bowl. I used to watch every game from this exact spot. I didn't know what else to do. This is my lucky seat, man.
And you're just coming over now?
Bud Light, for the fans who do whatever it takes.
Last year, you threw an interception because you read man coverage, but the defense was playing zone. You probably should have double-checked the free safety and dumped it off to the tight end.
Is that a question?
Just an observation.
It pays to double-check with State Farm.
Well, you talk about getting out in the open court. This is a high-quality look for Thompson in transition. And then Shannon Scott from behind just beats McLemore to the ball. And he did it without fouling. And then Thompson able on the next possession to get all the way to the rim, forcing the Jayhawks to call a timeout.
And you know what's interesting? 8-0 early in this game, points in the paint by Kansas. They were dominating. Lately, though, it's 8-4 now for Ohio State as they've gotten themselves back into the game.
An 11-0 run for the Buckeyes, and they've done it with turnovers. 4 in a row. Returned to cinder by McLemore as he knocks it away. 7:30 remaining. Don't blink. It's too good to miss.
Bring it on.
It's the biggest and best Resident Evil yet. Resident Evil Retribution, now on Blu-ray.
That State Farm agent said she saves people money. What do you do, Rogers?
I was MVP last year.
Last year. Heck of a great year.
Thought it was okay. You could save big every year with State Farm. Count the number of buttons in your car. Now,
count the number of buttons on your tablet. Isn't it time the automobile advanced? Introducing Q in the all-new Cadillac XTS. The simplicity of a tablet has come to your car. The all-new Cadillac XTS has arrived, and it's bringing the future forward.
Now, during season's best event, get zero due at signing and the first payments on us on this all-new XTS.
Do you ever wish we had iPads to practice math more?
I love math.
But 2 iPads means 2 data plans. That's crazy.
Maybe not. With AT&T Mobile Share, adding an iPad is just $10 a month.
But honestly, Mom and Dad's love is all I really need.
We should keep these for us.
We should keep these.
What?
AT&T Mobile Share. Add an iPad for just $10 a month. One plan, up to 10 devices. AT&T. Rethink possible.
Keep the party moving. Dial it. Bud Light together again with Pitbull. Here we go.
Tim Brando alongside Clark Kellogg and Greg Anthony. As you look at the game summary, fellas, the thing that really lit up when you were preparing for this game, looking at the video, was that Shannon Scott was a difference maker. And we've seen that in this latest run.
Largely because of his activity and speed. Defensively, he can get deflections and steals, and then offensively, he can help facilitate the Buckeyes' transition game and its half-court game.
Yeah, when you put those two in the backcourt, Kraft and Scott, what they've done is they've sped up Kansas's offense. So now, instead of allowing their offense through ball movement and body movement to dictate, they're trying to do it with penetration, which is leading to turnovers, 9 for Kansas in this half thus far, and those are getting those runouts that you talked about for OSU that have allowed them to seize control.
In only 7 minutes, Shannon Scott with 7 points, 3 dishes, and he's made a big difference for Kraft as well. Thomas can't get that one to fall. Withy collects another rebound for the Jayhawks.
And I also might mention Kansas has missed a couple of makeable shots during this impressive run by Ohio State. Let's see what they get here as they settle down in the half court.
I think Withy's got to get a touch. As the game speeds up, you become small. And that means Withy does not have as much of an impact. You want to play 5-on-5 if you're Kansas.
Starters are back on the floor for Bill Self. McLemore can't get that one to go. Kraft comes down with it. Thomas likes the speed advantage here, but Withy, of course, can answer, and he forces the turnover.
Folks, I don't know if you appreciate what you just saw with Jeff Withy. The lateral quickness he showed in containment on Deshaun Thomas. This is not easy for a guy 7'2". And you notice how he keeps his feet. And he goes with the verticality. That's why he forces that turnover by Thomas.
Clark, you're a big man. Is that the volleyball in him? You know, he played in San Diego until his junior year of high school.
I'm sure you can attribute a lot of that poise and discipline to volleyball, and the quickness of his second jumps is something that he also picked up being a volleyball player.
McLemore, leaner, not there. Kraft has Scott on one side, Thompson on the other, but he holds it and sets up shot. He finds Scott. Oh, the bank is open late Saturday afternoon in Columbus. It is a 14-0 Buckeyes run.
This is where Kansas needs to go. Nicely done. Well done.
Oh, by Young, and he's fouled to boot. Williams coming over late, along with Kraft. Count the basket. Amir Williams the foul.
Penetration by Kraft, and then Scott, fortunate that he sprays that one in off the glass, but the penetration is what creates the wide open look for Shannon Scott.
And the last possession here was terrific ball movement, inside-out action, back in, and then Young able to finish. We haven't seen that in about 7 or 8 minutes for Kansas. They've gotten out of character, but credit Scott and Kraft with their pressure on the penetration out on the perimeter for Ohio State.
Kevin Young really knows his role. He's a strong, senior, complimentary player. Clark trying to knock that one away. Out of bounds underneath the hoop.
Nadir Tharp applying some of the pressure that Scott and Kraft have applied to the Kansas backcourt, forcing a turnover there.
Linzel Smith comes back into the game after the turnover.
And Kraft going to get a rest. It won't be a long one. Actually, he looks a little sore. Actually, Aaron Kraft is shaken up.
Well, he either that or very tired. Yeah, I think he took one of the chops. Elijah Johnson had some knee injury problems, but has fought through it. Relaford saves it for Young. And now that'll be a foul against Thompson.
I think Kansas fortunate on that play there. Young on the penetration, and it looked like position was established, Clark. But you know what? Give him credit because he went away from the charge. And when you try to avoid it, I thought that was the right call.
And I thought Thompson was sliding a little bit as well.
And congratulations to David Letterman, recipient of this year's Kennedy Center honor. This week, Dave's got Scarlett Johansson, Led Zeppelin, Matt Damon, and Bill Murray. Only CBS. And the second for Young is converted. 31-27, 4-point lead, and a highly entertaining first half in Columbus, Ohio. Ravenel rushed that shot just a bit on the baseline. The alley-oop for Young from Johnson and a foul underneath. Shannon Scott's going to pick it up. Turnover's a big story.
It's been the key, really, for Ohio State. They've done the job with their pressure on the perimeter, getting those turnovers, allowing them to get out in transition. They have struggled at times with scoring a half court. Not an issue for them when they can get out and run in the open court.
Well, you touched on it at the top of the telecast. Transition opportunities primarily for Kansas, but both of these teams are similar in how they run and win. Ohio State doesn't have the consistent inside presence, so they may not play inside out as much as by throwing it into the post, but both of these teams want to be able to operate in transition.
Yeah, you have to have paint impact, and there's 3 ways you can do it. You can do it by post, you can do it by penetration, and then via the pass out of your offense. And Ohio State understands that they've done a good job of that here in the first half.
Johnson stays with it after the offensive rebound off the missed free throws by Witty. The Jayhawks convert and cut it down to 2. A 6-0 answer by Kansas.
As you might expect from an experienced team with championship pedigree.
Scott, while taking it to the rack, is fouled by the Jayhawks.
And a couple other things, Ohio State in the half court, you can see the adjustments Thad Matta's making. He's trying to get Withy out of the paint. So you do that by incorporating him in pick and rolls. Even though you're not looking for the roll man, it forces Withy to have to extend on the help, and that gives you attack angles at the rim.
The foul was against Tharp, his first. Tuesday on CBS, it's the law versus the mob in the city. That's part battleground and part playground. The new hit drama Vegas, Tuesday, only CBS. Aaron Kraft looking to come back into the game, waiting at the scores table. But he'll have to wait a little longer after those misses. Quentin Ross is there with him, number 10, also waiting to check in on the next dead ball. Both teams' strengths, defense, and we've seen that illustrated in the number of turnovers. Some of them because of just great defense, and I think others because they're rushing a little bit.
Agreed. Part of what you want to do by getting up into the ball is to speed up the opponent, to get them uncomfortable, to get them out of rhythm and out of a comfort zone.
And keep in mind, these are two teams. Their best strength is their offense. That's where they create offense. When you pressure and extend, you force more one-on-one play, which neither team really excels at. They are not built that way.
Look how wide open that lane is for Ohio State. Another ball screen here, trying to get Withy involved, and then Kraft open on the backside. Well executed by Ohio State. That's a foul on
Ross.
Ross for sure.
Over the top. With 3:51 remaining, a 2-point game. Bill Self trying to get his guys to settle down. Hard to do.
We can feel it when we wake up. We're all traveling, 'cause tonight we're sitting around the table.
The holiday when we're able.
Something in the air, something in the air. It's Christmas in the air that keeps us together.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on. I'll be home for Christmas. If only in my dreams.
Oh, what fun it is to ride. Get the Mercedes-Benz on your wish list at the winter event going on now through December 31st.
Lease a 2013 E350 for $579 a month at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer. You're watching NCAA basketball on CBS.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Well, a couple of guys I've shared some airtime with recently, Doug Gottlieb and Seth Davis. Well, you could get you caught up on scores and highlights, and they'll go one-on-one in their court of opinion. That's coming up on AT&T at the half. Now, a couple of guys that have been in the studio with me are with me courtside. And you know what? They did play the game. And I don't know. I think this is almost obscene what you guys were wearing back in the day.
Halftime fade I was rocking back in the day, personally.
I had a nice little Link Hayes throw going on
Yeah, you
there.
did. Yeah, you did.
You know, I can only talk about a previous mullet myself. But those are awfully short, I got to tell you.
You know, the scary thing is, when we won, we thought they were real long. We thought we were setting the trend, baby.
Yeah.
At the V, we thought we were setting it. We were a trendsetter.
I distinctly remember Eldon Miller telling Clark, would you please just put the warm-ups back on?
Oh, man, they went to the archives to grab that.
Yes, they did.
Those photos out of there.
Yes, they did.
And we've since gone to no maintenance, low maintenance
Yes.
on the hairstyles. You and I.
Which I prefer.
Yeah, likewise. Right now, we've got a battle of points off turnovers versus points in the paint.
And Rutherford taking it into the painted area, draws the contact from Ravenel.
Kansas winning, points in the paint, 16-8. And the Buckeyes enjoying a pretty healthy advantage in points off turnovers, 12-3.
And that's been the formula for the Buckeyes all year. They're one of the best in the country at taking care of it and turning you over. And Kansas has really helped them today with their inability to execute in the half court.
And the Buckeyes +5 turnover margin per game, to your point, Greg.
Look at stats all over the course of the early part of the season, Clark. And for me, I tend not to look at them because I think they're skewed. You're not necessarily playing the type of competition you're going to face in conference and obviously in the tournament. But when you get these kinds of matchups, I think these are the barometer games that give you a real feel for who you are as a team and what you need to be able to compete at the highest level.
Well, since that shock treatment timeout by Bill Self, Jayhawks have been on a 7-0 run, and what you witnessed there in Relaford missing a free throw is rare. 93% Big 12 leader in free throw shooting percentage. Thompson, not there. Young comes down with it. Off the tap out by Withy. Little two-man game between Relaford and Withy.
They want to get that ball swung to the opposite side and then go over the top.
Relaford on the wing. Linzel Smith Jr. with the save. Out to Aaron Craft. I don't think the shot clock's ever come into play, has it?
Not at all. I said it would be on rollerblades.
Yeah, I just thought I'd point that out as we're coming down to the closing moments of the half.
I love the pace. It allows for more playmaking and shot making.
McQuinton Ross, again affected by the mere presence of Jeff Withy. And we talk about the non-conference games that the Jayhawks play, that Michigan State game at a neutral site, really. Oregon State, Colorado. That Temple game, which will be on CBS, that's a Sunday tilt, just became a lot bigger based on what Fran Dunphy's team did today, beating Syracuse.
Yeah, I took a quick gander at that box score, and Khalif Wyatt went for 33.
He was unstoppable today. He really was. What a competitor he is. Johnson, nice pull-up off the glass.
Float on right there. and what you're seeing now, the game's starting to slow down again.
I remember a lyric from that song. I think it was Cancer. Yeah. My name is Larry.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I like that, Timmy B.
You can't leave anything out there with the toe tapper.
Ravenel. Dunked by Smith. Hammer time.
There have not been many offensive rebound opportunities for the Buckeyes, but do they take advantage of that one? Wow.
McLemore in traffic. Staying with it with the help of Young, but Deshaun Thomas clears. He's crafty. There's Scott. Off the back iron, pulled down by Johnson. That was a dangerous pass, and Ravenel rejected by Withy.
They're going to call
foul on the other side, maybe with Johnson reaching in.
I think you're right, Tim.
Oh,
man, major action here both ways. Linzel Smith Jr.
And how about the fine from Ravenel? And then you could never get anything easy with the eraser on the interior. Jeff Withy.
I don't remember a block any better than that than Walton against Larry Keenan in '73.
You're going way back.
I mean, that was just an amazing defensive play.
Terrific, because he never gave up on the play. That was a transition opportunity, and he got himself back into the play, and they won't give up two.
And the level of discipline that Withy has defensively is off the chart.
It's remarkable, Tim. It really is. I mean, you watch him, he moves so well. His timing is impeccable. And, Greg, you made a good point. The fact that typically Kansas on the perimeter is pretty good means he's not defending guys that have blown by their man. So he's had a chance to kind of see it unfold and then position himself for the shot change or the block.
There you go. It's the ability to eliminate blow-bys that keep bigs out of foul trouble. And Withy reads block shots like a point guard reads the floor when he delivers the dime.
Tharp negotiates to McLemore. That's a good find because Ellis Johnson was forced to sit after picking up the second foul. Tharp has played well since coming in for him.
Yeah, he's been solid all season. Actually, the last few games in particular, Tharp has really started to step up his game. Had a career-high 11 points in the win against Richmond.
Shot clock differential, you can see, about 4.5 seconds. Grab, tough pass. Deflected away by Young. Out more. Give me more.
How about the dime. But then McLemore in stride catches it, and he just has another gear. Look at the hands. Beautiful find by Tharp, but then the grab, the catch, the finish by the high flyer.
Start by making an award-winning car. Now imagine the worst-case scenario. Worse than that. Worse. That bad. So now we need airbags. More airbags. Perfect. Give it smart brakes that excel in the wet. Test it. Test it. Test it again. Now put eyes in the back of its head. Ditch the blind spot. And that's how you make a car for an unsafe world. Easy.
Take it. And Clark, you talked about the vision and the impact that the young man, Nadir Tharp, is having on the game. Sometimes you need a little help. It was a good pass, but a great catch. And people saying, well, maybe he traveled. No, folks, as I said earlier, you got to get possession. So he didn't have possession. Once he gathered, then you take those 2 steps. But to catch it in stride like that and finish, young fella has some big ones.
Could I say the spirit of St. Louis is doing just fine in Kansas?
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would certainly agree, partner.
By way of Christian Life Center in the state of Texas, the redshirt freshman Ben McLemore. You know, it's very rare you see a team of the stature of Kansas with this many seniors, fellas, but they have them, and I think McLemore blending with them the way he has is incredible.
It really is. I mean, he was a partial qualifier last year academically, so he was not able to even practice until the second semester. But I had a chance to watch him practice during that time, and you could see he had a special package when it comes to basketball ability, and he's got unlimited potential and already having a terrific start to this first season of playing for him.
Kraft working on Rio Adams. We've got a foul prior to the shot, and the clock was still running after the foul took place. Rio, the freshman from Seattle, Washington. And you will see that the clock continued to run after the foul took place.
There's the bump. Yeah, there should be about 3 more, probably more, closer to 5 seconds on the clock. But nobody making note of it. So.
Oh, we have the early season adjustment to clock. They know what time our production team is trying to make a flight.
You know, but going back quickly to that point about McLemore, what did Bill Self tell us before? He said he's the best freshman he's ever had since he's been there. And that's high praise for this young man when you think about all the talent that's come through for Bill Self.
Kraft with just one of the 2. At the buzzer, McLemore, I think he was fouled. Or he walked. He walked.
Prior, tell you what, that extra 2.2 seconds would have made a difference had it been on the clock.
Well, we're going to wait for the whistle here. The whistle did come right about the time the clock hit 00. So we are at the break. An exciting first 20 minutes. McLemore with 13 points, 3 for 5 from downtown. A 2-point game. Let's take you back to Studio 43 and my friend Doug Gottlieb. Doug? CBS Sports college basketball coverage is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. Napa know-how. And by K Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K. While trying to strike a balance in a game like this, it's 37-35, and let me tell you, for the play-by-play guy, it's about transition and points in the paint. And you can help me with both of those, right, fellas?
Yes, we can.
Well, we can do that. And starting with Kansas, their ability to set the tone from the beginning. They established their identity. We are going to attack on the interior through Withy, and that's going to open up driving angles for us to get to the rim. Clark, they did a very good job of that. But then the identity of the Buckeyes came out.
Emerged when Shannon Scott entered the game. Full court pressure, much more activity defensively for the Buckeyes. 13-7 points off turnovers, 2 of them right there in favor of the Buckeyes. Sam Thompson deflection, pushes it ahead, and you get opportunities in the open court. The Buckeyes doing it with its defense.
All right, fellas, let's take a look at the Coca-Cola first half stats. What strikes you about them?
I think the turnovers. I think both teams have to be disappointed. There was just really one stretch for Kansas, though, where they kind of got out of character, Clark. But Ohio State, towards the end of the half, they started to get back to having some issues in the half court.
And it's interesting to note, Ohio State had an 8-point lead with about 6 minutes to go. So Kansas outscored them by 10 over that last 6 minutes. So that's a heck of a response on the road against a team that played as well as Ohio State did in that first half.
In some measure, Bill Self, because he likes to get, I think, his starters a chance to maybe gather themselves. When he went to his bench is when that run occurred, and then after he got the starters back in the game after the 14-0 spurt, that righted the ship.
That's a great point, Tim. The fact that it was the Kansas starters that really stabilized things, and it was the Buckeyes bench, primarily Shannon Scott, that injected some real life into this Ohio State crew.
Aaron Kraft feeds Linzel Smith Jr. That one grazed the front iron. There's Thomas picking up a little garbage. Elijah Johnson doing what Bill Self wants him to do. Now Relaford with a quick turnover, and it goes the other way. But what they want from Elijah Johnson is penetration. Take it to the rack.
You want it, but you don't want it in that way, because if you go direct line penetration without moving the defense, you're allowing 5 sets of eyes to focus on you, and then they can eliminate the angles to create passing opportunities. He's got to move the ball through the offense first and then attack.
And Kraft apparently, while driving, stepped on the inline.
The exact same thing.
Yeah.
Almost.
Because that's really, Clark, and you know this, when you're a dominant defensive team, your objective is to not allow a team to run their offense.
Right.
So in essence, you're feeding right into what they want by trying to attack without moving the feet and the eyes of the defense.
Well, they were setting up a beautiful alley-oop, but a pick that was illegal, and Bill Self's a little beside himself over that one. So a block goes the other way. Foul committed by Kevin Young, his second.
And turnovers are never good.
Yep.
Turnovers are never good, but dead ball turnovers give you a chance to set your defense if you're Kansas, particularly when you're on the road.
Pretty clear Bill knew that was a good call, as he pointed out. You just cost us 2, Mr. Young. Thompson had a very good first 8 minutes of the game, then was not heard from as much. Kraft looking to deal to him right now. The iron unkind, but it's pulled down by Kraft.
Those are the shots I think Ohio State has to make with greater regularity here in the second half if they're going to hold on and get a win here.
Linzel Smith Jr. again off the front iron. Kraft runs down the loose ball again, and the contact from Johnson.
And early on, the quickness of Ohio State here in this second half to get to those loose balls, really allowing them to stay in control from a momentum standpoint.
That's a big foul because it's number 3 on Johnson. Remember, he got his second in the closing moments of the first half. But the good news is Nadir Tharp did play well in the first 20 minutes.
3 points, a couple of assists in 8 minutes for Tharp in that first half. But you're right, Tim. It's a big foul on Johnson.
Thomas plays the nylon song.
His jump shot is just so smooth and fluid.
And quick.
And gets the crowd back into the game.
He doesn't take much time to get it loaded and launched.
Young. Again, Kraft knocking it away.
No reset of the shot clock, though. Oh, they did reset it because of possession.
Say,
You're right.
He had possession.
He did have possession. That's exactly right. Matter of fact,
Resetting the shot clock.
I would like to not see that be a rule. In that situation there, that was just an extension of a good defensive play.
Yeah, keep the game flow where it ought to be.
And it's not just that you keep it flowing, you don't punish the defense.
Right, that's my point.
That's why since we're going there, I don't like the jump ball alternate possession rule. I'm not a fan of that either.
Yeah.
Because again, you're punishing the defense oftentimes for making a great play.
Why can't I get the rules committee to get you guys on? I try every year. I do.
Having said that, though, I think Clark and I both agree the game is great. College basketball right now. And this is really epitomizes what's great about a game. This game right here.
Withey's jump hook, not there. Thomas the rebound.
I like what Ohio State did there, guys. They played behind Withey as opposed to trying to front him. Make him shoot over the top some this time.
Thomas made the extra pass, but Linzel Smith Jr., a sharpshooter, unable to get it to go from the perimeter so far today. Tharp, as an example of what we were talking about with this youngster, a mighty might who's played big.
Change of pace really gives them a different dynamic than they get with Elijah Johnson. Remember, Elijah Johnson's transitioning from that shooting guard to the point guard position. One of the, I think, the most difficult transition to make for a basketball player.
Without question. Beautiful attack by Tharp in the open court that time.
Loose ball, run down by Young. When you think of Bill Self teams at Kansas and even at Tulsa and Illinois, he's been a combo guard guy, not a prolific pure point. Tharp is that. It's rare to see a 5'11" real point on this team, and Young on the alley-oop to Withey.
That's one thing I love about Patrick Young. He understands who he is on the basketball floor, and oftentimes when you're not overly aggressive, you minimize your turnovers. You give your team an opportunity to make productive plays.
Those were Withey's first points in 17 and a half minutes of action. He's done a lot of other things, though. Ravenel taking it right to the big guy, but unable to convert. Kraft reaches in that time, gets a little body, and the foul will go against Aaron.
We call this having that extra gear. Look at Tharp as he turns it on. And what he's doing, he's reading the defense. He sees that angle to attack before he gets to it. And then the nice decision by Young on the Withey slam. That's another way to incorporate Withey. He's not a terrific back-to-the-basket post-up player, but he is an excellent finisher at the rim.
And when this thing bogs down and becomes more of a half-court game, I think Kansas has more ways to hurt you than Ohio State does, especially if Ohio State is not able to knock down the good open perimeter shots that they get. Kansas has more drivers and finishers, and then they've got Withey, who can finish even though he doesn't have a real true back-to-the-basket game.
Relaford's bucket extends the 6-0 run for Kansas. Kraft feeds Thompson. And the perimeter jumper not falling for Sam now. Relaford again to McLemore. Little too much oomph on that one. Timeout. Kansas leads.
Everybody, well, don't you know it's me now? Yeah, who's it? Well, he's back with a brand new beat now. Yeah, doing it. Hey, 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 yeah. Try to buy my style. Hey, 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 yeah. How you like me now? Na, 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 na.
Oh, look, honey, it's Santa.
I thought I heard reindeer.
Mom, Mrs. Nelson, I have a perfect gift for you.
You must have gotten my letter. Oh, Santa.
Save 25% on any Citizen watch. Fueled by light, never needs a battery. At Kay, the #1 jewelry store in America.
These are for me, right?
Every kiss begins with K.
Sometimes what we suffer from is bigger than we think. Like the flu. With aches, fever, and chills, the flu's a really big deal. So why treat it like it's a little cold? There's something that works differently than over-the-counter remedies. Prescription Tamiflu attacks the flu virus at its source. So don't wait. Call your doctor right away. Tamiflu is prescription medicine for treating the flu in adults and children 1 year and older whose flu symptoms started within the last 2 days. Before taking Tamiflu, tell your doctor if you're pregnant, nursing, have serious health conditions, or take other medicines. If you develop an allergic reaction, a severe rash, or signs of unusual behavior, stop taking Tamiflu and call your doctor immediately. Children and adolescents in particular may be at an increased risk of seizures, confusion, or abnormal behavior. The most common side effects are mild to moderate nausea and vomiting. The The flu comes on fast, so ask your doctor about Tamiflu, prescription for flu.
This weekend, 60 Minutes presents an evening of music with some of our favorite artists. Hear them and their stories Sunday.
Fellas, I got a little ride on the coaching carousel for you. John Gross has 10th-ranked Illinois off to an undefeated start after leading Ohio to the Sweet 16. Frank Martin has a major rebuilding job in South Carolina. Gamecocks are 7-3. Kevin Ollie takes a UConn team from his mentor, the legend Jim Calhoun. There's a bit of a Kansas connection, as you can imagine here, with Larry Brown, Danny Manning now at Tulsa, where, of course, Bill Self was as a head coach at one time. Southern Illinois has Barry Hinson. He's out to a 7-3 record. And one other guy we should mention, Doc Sadler started his coaching career with the Arkansas Razorbacks under Eddie Sutton as a student manager. And oh, by the way, the first game CBS ever had, Arkansas and Michigan, the 81-82 season. Doc is as good as it gets. Head coach at Texas El Paso, formerly Texas Western in Nebraska, now the director of basketball operations under Bill Self. We were in the locker room before the game, and I had to give my Eddie Sutton walk and timeout impression. He got a kick out of that.
Yes, he did. So too did we.
Yeah, we all love Eddie. Coach Sutton, so impactful in Bill Self's career. Really, probably the other guy that had the most impact on Bill would be Larry Brown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would throw Leonard Hamilton in there as well.
Not quite 5 minutes gone as Thomas on the help is fouled by Withy. Gee, that's only my 13th foul this season.
Yeah. Remarkable, and we've highlighted why that's the case. His timing is impeccable. Obviously, he's 7 feet tall with an extended reach and got an awful lot of the pumpkin there, but came into the wrist as well.
Let's take a look at the blog on Deshaun Thomas.
Well, he leads his team in scoring and rebounding. Thirsty on O. That's what the young folks would say. He's thirsty. Wants those shots to get up. Buckets wherever. Offensive rebounds. And he's a bit streaky from three, but he can find ways to put it in the basket from anywhere and any angle on the court.
I'm really glad to see you've updated in social networking. It used to be the book. Now it's the blog. I see.
Change is inevitable. We're just trying to keep up with it.
They are allowing it to be physical on the interior.
Just as you say that, a foul against Demir Williams. And the crowd goes wild.
Really, the foul was committed a little bit earlier in that possession.
No, it was. You're right.
Allowed him to play through it.
Substitution for Ohio State, number 30.
But I like the fact that Amir is battling.
Yeah, that's his third foul, by the way.
You might call a foul there.
You think?
You know, it's possible. But you know what? They went back to trying to front again, though, Parker.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's a mistake.
Rutherford, beautifully done, and that's not easy because out of a scouting report, you know Aaron Kraft was ready. He just had a quick step on Aaron and got to the 10. 8-1 run now for Kansas.
And they're doing it all points in the paint, guys. That's where it's happening for Kansas. They are scoring easier than Ohio State is able to. Baseline out of bounds play here, and Aaron Kraft just gets beat. I don't know if that was his responsibility or a team breakdown, but they don't want to give up baskets on the baseline.
I think he just got
out of bounds.
Yeah,
well, he did, but you still have to have an awareness on a baseline out of bounds from a help standpoint.
Exactly.
And another point, keep in mind, Kansas has not turned the ball over much here in the second half. They have not allowed Ohio State to have some easy runouts. That's where they got their rhythm offensively in that first half. It's been non-existent here thus far.
Well, when you squeeze the orange, partner, you get fresh orange juice.
McLemore can't get that one to go. I'm gonna try to work on that, the squeezing process with you guys. Thomas off the back iron, loose ball, run down by Deshaun.
That was an offensive foul.
Yeah, it was an offensive foul, but they did not make that call.
I thought that was a wipe away by Thomas with the right hand.
And the officials pretty emphatic on that call.
You gave him the Heisman here.
Yeah,
take a look at this.
Good effort to get to the loose ball.
Yeah, there's the Heisman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that should have gone the other way, I think.
Thomas with all 6 of Ohio State's points this half. Monday on CBS. It may be cold outside, but there's one place that's always oh so hot. Hawaii 5-0 Monday, only CBS.
You know, we talked earlier about Bill Self and the job he does with his team. He's in college, he's one of the best coaches at really using the regular season to prepare for the tournament. And by that, I mean he plays his younger players in the heat of the moment. He allows them to develop not only confidence, but the trust of their teammates. So when those moments present themselves, Elijah Johnson picks up 3 or Jeff Withey gets in foul trouble down the line, those guys will have the confidence to come in and make plays and to kind of keep that motor running.
Excellent point.
Thomas has 16 now for the Buckeyes. Here's Ellis in traffic, trying to find Young. Ill-advised pass.
Is that the first Jayhawks turnover this hour?
Yes. And there's a foul spotted as Relaford comes over to help on Ravenel.
I really think, guys, the more Ohio State can rev up the pace and quick hit and attack without necessarily having to run a lot of half-court offense, I think it bodes better for them because they're athletic and they operate a little better, I think, in the open court.
Yeah, and you know what? We haven't heard as much from Shannon Scott in the second half as we did the first. Your favorite superstar performers, honor acting legend Dustin Hoffman, king of late night David Letterman, and one of the greatest rock bands of all time, Led Zeppelin. The Kennedy Center Honors, Wednesday, only CBS. The young man that's lost about 60 pounds since his career began. And Dave Richardson, the strength coach here, has done a marvelous job with him. What a scene in Columbus. We're tied at 45. Far too long. And a foul inside.
And Bill Self doing a little bit of what the Armada has done now. You know, you got Tharp and Johnson in at the same time to deal with the pressure as the intensity picks up here. And nice decision by the young fella, hitting Young in stride, and a good call by the officials. Again, you can attack the paint via the pass, the post, or with penetration. And that's what Tharp's able to do on that possession.
You know what, fellas? Last year, Clark, you were there for it in the Final Four. Foul trouble late impacted Ohio State, and they did not have the legs to hang with Kansas. That's the third foul on Kraft.
Yeah. Excellent point, Timmy. It was Deshaun Thomas last year in that semifinal matchup.
Ravenel with a rejection.
Believe it or not, though, I take it a step further. I think you're right about the foul trouble, but I also felt fatigue played a role down the stretch in that game. So this could be a blessing in disguise for Ohio State in some respects, because Kraft gets a blow he wouldn't ordinarily get, and so now maybe he can finish stronger down the stretch.
You're right. Thad's instincts are to keep Aaron Kraft in the game.
And I don't blame him. He was playing for me.
You're right.
He might play 42 minutes of a 40-minute game.
Johnson ooping from McLemore. He lost the handle, followed, count it, and he'll get to the line.
That's two major breakdowns, though. You can't afford to have that happen against a high-level opponent where they're getting 2 buckets, maybe 5 points on breakdowns defensively on baseline out-of-bounds plays.
You may have to make an adjustment if you're Thad Matta. His group right now not recognizing the plays, and it's not like they haven't prepared.
That's right.
For this game in terms of that's 2 times in a row. They could end up with 5 points on baseline out of bounds. You'd be happy to get 2 over the course of a game.
Those are McLemore's first points of this half. And yet Kansas now leads by 4. Ohio State's missed their last 6 shots from the floor. Smith trying to get on track and struggling. Staying with it, though, with the hustle play. Ravenel out to Thompson. Scott on a blow-by, and he's fouled. Got a little chipping, and that'll be intentional against Tharp. He wrapped him up.
That'll be a flagrant 1.
Yep.
Clearly, No play on the ball, just a do-si-do, be my partner.
Yeah,
is basically what Tharp was doing there.
And it's
you got issue with that?
Well, it's the right call based on the rules, but I don't think that those are the types of plays that we should be utilizing for flagrants. I mean, the play is below the net. It's not a situation where he's trying to do anything with malice. That's a tough call. Foul, absolutely. Flagrant, that's another step.
So Nadir Tharp now has 3. Elijah Johnson has 3. So a dilemma in the backcourt to some extent now for Bill Self. And Johnson and Tharp remain on the floor. Here's where Shannon Scott, playing for Aaron Kraft, can really show his ever-improving game. Thomas can't get this one to go. Ellis with the rebound for Kansas. Very highly thought-of freshman from Wichita. Most heralded since Wayne Simeon in the state of Kansas to come to Lawrence.
This is the type of defense you saw from Ohio State when they made the run in the first half. They were able to extend and force Kansas to have to play more one-on-one.
Scott pulls up short, but there's Thompson, and he's fouled by Withy. And again, CBS Sports coverage of NCAA men's basketball will continue after this message and a word from your local CBS station. McLemore has been as advertised. 16 points to lead the way. Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Santa, Santa, Santa. Ho, ho, ho! Want to see some magic? Watch this!
I landed on my keys.
Did you get that? Oh, yeah. That was amazing. Here you go.
That was a fun trick!
See? Santa's okay.
Santa. Share videos instantly with S-Beam on the Galaxy S3 and Note 2. For a limited time, get 2 flip covers for the price of 1, exclusively at Verizon.
Join your favorite superstars for the Kennedy Center Honors. CBS Wednesday.
Welcome to Chevy's year-end event. So the 5.3-liter V8 Silverado can tow up to 9,600 pounds?
315 horsepower.
What's that in reindeer power?
Chevy's giving more. Get the best offer of the year, 0% APR financing for 60 months plus $1,000 holiday bonus cash, plus trade up for an additional $1,000 trade-in allowance. Hurry, bonus cash ends January 2nd.
They're called groundbreaking, exciting, and sensational. An explosion of comedy, music, and fun. And now they're bringing their newest, most innovative theatrical production to you. Experience the phenomenon.
On sale now. Part of the AT&T Performing Arts Center's Lexus Broadway series.
To those who received both the full-size room and the EPA estimated 36 mile per gallon Buick LaCrosse with the assist, enjoy. To those who sacrificed one for the other, there's still time. Celebrate the holidays and lease this 2013 Buick LaCrosse with 2 years of scheduled maintenance for around $299 per month.
Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
So you've got 2.1 seconds.
Grant, can you throw a good pass? Yes, coach. Christian, can you make the catch? Yes, coach. And then you only want a good look. You only want a shot up at the hoop.
There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yes! Next Saturday, the CBS Sports presents 75 years of NCAA March Madness. Behind the mic, 2 Eastern Time, followed by the coach's perspective. Vern Lundquist and Lynn Elmore sat down with Christian Leitner for the first time since that Elite 8 matchup at the Spectrum. And they went beyond, obviously, what most of us would ever know taking place behind the scenes as you look at the foul difficulty now. 3 for Kansas and Kraft and Williams for Ohio State. And memories of that, so huge. They say it's tougher to get to the Final Four than to win it. And I think that game illustrated it, Clark.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that was just a fabulously executed play. And then Leitner obviously making a big shot. But he got a quality look, which is what he was hoping to get there. And actually, I'm looking forward to hearing so much about what everybody else says in regards to favorite moments, behind the mic stories, and the like.
And then the philosophies, because that's the thing about this great game. You can win in so many different ways. And that coaching carousel that we got the opportunity to see with that show illustrates that.
Nice job here, Ravenel, holding Withy. From behind.
There's that Ohio State defense again. And a timeout taken by Kansas off the loose ball situation.
And if Kansas is able to hold on with this game, how about these 2 possessions here off a baseline out of bounds? Complete breakdowns defensively by the Buckeyes led to 5 points in a 1-point game here.
11:20 remaining here in the second. It should be special down the stretch.
Why do I like this new Buick Verano? It lets me audible.
OnStar, how can I help you?
Check, 287, orange barrel, reroute.
Sending new route now, Mr. Manning.
Love that.
Phone call, Papa Bear, hut.
Hey, Peyton, just fired up the grill. Better hurry.
Tune XM60 Outlaw. If you don't know the innovative Verano, then you don't know Buick. It's like being on the field, just more luxury.
Never share again. Taco Bell's new loaded grillers. Appetizer taste of spicy wings, tasty skins, and beefy nachos. Each just 99 cents and wrapped up just for you.
One Bud Light fan will win 2 season tickets for the rest of their life. Your favorite NFL team, every home game for up to 50 years. So go ahead, do your lucky thing. How lucky are you? Go to facebook.com/Bud Light to enter.
Oh, this is juicier than I thought. We actually keep track of how many times this kid picked his nose?
Hair pulls, stink eyes, man, we see everything.
Oh, it's the old man.
Hold on, I gotta send something out.
You can have 2 apps open at the same time? How'd you do that?
It's the Galaxy Note 10.1, man. It just does it.
How do you think they made it?
Magic.
Do more with the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1. Available at Best Buy and Best Buy mobile stores.
CBS presents a very broke Christmas.
My first doll was a rusty saw. I called her Princess Metal Teeth.
2 broke girls.
When's the last time we took a day and just had fun? We have fun. Remember when we made mittens out of all the hair from the bathtub?
Monday at 9/8 Central. Only CBS.
CBS Sports College basketball coverage is sponsored by the Buick Verano. Unexpected luxury in a car this size. Walmart. We're so confident in our low prices, we guarantee them. And by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. As good as it gets in Columbus, Ohio, 49-48. Tim Brando, Greg Anthony, Clark Kellogg. Let's recheck the fast analysis courtesy AT&T.
Well, we talked from Kansas' standpoint, the ability to get those transition baskets, easy opportunities to quiet the crowd. How about Ben Roethlisberger to Mike Wallace? Sometimes you got to trust your receiver to make a play, and he comes up with it. And then in transition, Tharp ahead to McLemore with a beautiful finish. Kansas +2 in transition.
How dare you come into the state of Ohio and give an unabashed
They do play the Bengals tomorrow now.
An unabashed Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, he was rocking that Pittsburgh Steelers sky piece yesterday. That skull sky piece he had on, all black and gold in here.
I'm sure Nance and Sims loved it.
I'll tell you what, in this one right in front of us, it's going to come down to shot making and free throw making. And Kansas, to me, in a half-court setting, has more playmakers and shot makers so far. McLemore has been pretty good from the perimeter. Johnson can go get his own off the dribble, as he just showed you there. Withy is capable. Rutherford can slash and drive to go. For Ohio State, they've got to continue to force turnovers and be able to quick hit in attacking and then knock down some free throws, as both teams will be shooting bonus free throws the rest of the way.
And if you're Ohio State, keep an eye on the fact that you got to be somewhat impressed with, they haven't really gotten anything from Lenzel Smith tonight.
Yeah.
You know, they've been able to nullify him, as has Kansas, and yet you're still in a one-possession game.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Greg. Lenzel Smith Jr. just sat down, and there's Withey. That time, Ravenel played behind him, but he was too deep.
Yes.
You want to ride him off the lane a little bit, then play behind him, as opposed to having him go up to the middle of the lane in front of him.
That was a nice look by Traylor. By the way, Kraft is back on the floor playing with 3 fouls, and Lenzel Smith sitting down after the foul was committed. You look at that 0-4 from the floor in the last 7:45. They've stayed in this game by getting to the free throw line. And Thompson's now out there with Shannon Scott, Kraft, Ravenel. Another rejection. How about that? Help defense. How about that help?
Take a look at Withey here, doing a nice job getting position, holding that position well, and then the nice post feed. And Withey doesn't waste any time, goes right to the right angle and finishes it inside.
Ohio State 0 for their last 10 from the floor.
But when you get post position that deep, that's the equivalent of a blow by. The help cannot get there. Time defense.
Thompson should have taken that wing jump.
Exactly, Tim. That was a wide open shot.
I mean, why challenge Withey on the baseline like that?
Yeah, that's like being at the shopping mall during the holidays trying to find that real close space.
Yeah.
Instead of just parking way away and walk to the store.
Yeah, but
take what's available when it's available.
The problem, though, is Thompson just got his driver's license. And so he's not as comfortable at this stage of his career with making those plays.
We've been waiting for Scott and Kraft to get it going, and they have not been able to do it here in the second half.
Well, and keep in mind, too, Ohio State's offense comes from their offense, meaning they have to execute to create scoring opportunities. They're not going to beat you individually. Really, only Deshaun Thomas has that ability, and one guy is not going to do it against this Kansas defense.
It's amazing, 0 for 11, the last 11 shots, but they're only down by 5.
Yeah, that's exactly the point Greg made a moment ago, Tim, and it's a good one because it's still the opportunity, but you've got to knock down some shots. That's a good open shot and one you've got to take. But you need some makes at some point.
But at this time of the game, though, is where Ohio State in big games has gotten a little heavy-legged. Now, Scott knocks it away, but that's something that you noticed from the end of last year into the game with Duke that they lost earlier this year.
Yeah, but I will give that amount a lot of credit. They're playing more of their bench in this game. And I will also say this is a mental game right now, because while they're only down 2 possessions and there's 9 minutes to go, it feels like they're down more. They can't allow it to feel that way.
Really wants it. Johnson.
Guys they've got to be aware of how close they are to that sideline.
Court awareness, that's what that is, and a turnover. The end result, that's the 16th by Kansas, and it's really enabled the Buckeyes to hang around. And they're 0 for their last 12 from the floor as Withey sits down. Young back into the game now to dog Shannon Scott. Kansas with McLemore, Young, Elijah Johnson, Relaford, and Jamari Traylor, the 5 on the floor.
Multiple defenders have taken a chance, taking their turns with Deshaun Thomas.
That's a high percentage shot off the feet inside to Amir Williams.
And that's a big basket, too, because when a young player sees the ball go through the basket, it makes him a better basketball player.
Relaford answers with a tray.
The senior coming through big, because they have gotten a little stagnant here offensively, Clark. Really not having a lot of productivity in the half court.
You would think, Clark, they'd go inside with Withey on the bench.
That would be the suggestion, but it's about knocking down the open perimeter shot.
Well, the only bucket they have in the last 10 minutes and 30 seconds was from Amir Williams off a nice pass from Thomas. This is the first time the shot clock has drifted into single digits. The floater, too strong. Williams again, point blank range.
And you're talking about going inside. They can go inside, but they got to do it with penetration. They don't really have, other than Thomas, anybody who has that ability to score with their back to the basket. So the other way to do it is attack off the dribble and force help and maybe get to the offensive glass.
McLemore not there. Young, the offensive board. Back to McLemore, and a foul spotted inside. Amir Williams has a chance to grow up with Withy on the bench.
Thanks for the ticket, man.
Thanks to my State Farm agent for saving me $480.
No sweat. Hey, look, we're on fan cam.
Having the extra cash sure helps.
And I can save even more by combining your auto and renter's policies.
Cool. But what if we bought a house?
Auto and home? We have even bigger savings for that.
Wow, sounds good.
More savings any way you shake it.
Want to split some nachos?
Sure.
Get to a better state. State Farm.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on. I'll be home for Christmas. If only in my dreams.
This December, remember, you can stay in and like something. Or you can get out there with your family and actually like something. The Lexus December to Remember sales event is on, offering some of our best values of the year. This is the pursuit of perfection.
As you look at our game summary, transition and points in the paint, that's really been what this game's been about. But fellas, attrition, I think, down the stretch may be a factor, depending upon what happens with this foul difficulty.
Yeah, we've got to keep an eye on that because a number of guys are playing with some foul trouble. And then also, who knocks down the free throws when those opportunities avail themselves?
Right.
Kansas, again, as I've said, I think they've executed a little better in the half court because they've got more options. Ohio State has gotten some decent shots, Greg, and just haven't been able to knock enough of them down.
But then you got to look at how the game's being played from a shot distribution standpoint. If you look at Kansas, the right guys are taking the shots for their two best offensive players are leading them in field goal attempts. Not the case for Ohio State. Smith Jr. and Deshaun Thomas haven't even taken the most shots in this game for their team. So that tells you they haven't been able to get the offense they want, as opposed to Kansas controlling tempo with their shot distribution.
Well, we're going to take a look at what Scott and Kraft have done. First half, second half comparison. 14 points, 5 of 9 in the first half. 2 points, 0 of 5 here in the second half. That's as big a story as any to support the inability of Ohio State to knock down perimeter shots. The point you make is an excellent one, Greg, in terms of that shot distribution, but some of that is attributable to the defense that Kansas is playing on those two primary scores for Ohio State. Linzel Smith Jr. on the bench now and not out there on the court because he's only 1 of 8. Looking to see what his foul total is.
Not many. He's only got one.
Yeah, so it's not that.
There's Aaron Kraft, but it's not there. Thomas trying to keep it alive, but Withy just too tall, and he brings down his 9th rebound.
Part of, I think, why Linzel Smith's on the bench is because he's 1 for 8.
Right, I was going to make that same point. Yeah,
to get into any type of a flow offensively, so they're going to go with the penetration of Scott and Kraft.
McLemore, the pull-up, not there. Oh, the iron kind. Oh, my goodness. Icicles on that kind of iron.
But how about the elevation
My goodness.
on the jump?
Oh, unbelievable.
Listen,
like a trampoline.
You know,
He's like on the trampoline.
Wow.
I know they teach you not to anticipate, but that one hung in the heavens before it fell. We'll be right back.
He is suffering from flu-like symptoms.
We had to help him into the locker room. It made me a believer. Not in luck or fate,
You can see how exhausted Michael Jordan
but in
is.
the will to win. You win from within.
Classic performance by Michael Jordan.
I got good news, guys. We didn't blow it, at least to this point. We're going to be back together again for this one.
I haven't gotten the memo yet, so
Saturday, 4 Eastern, Kentucky and Louisville in the Commonwealth. Ought to be a lot of fun. We look forward to it as you look at the game reset here. Both teams in the bonus. Possession arrow is to Kansas, an 8-point lead for the Jayhawks.
Smith Jr. back on the floor now as Thad Matta, hoping to be able to get him untracked here in the last 5.5 minutes.
How did he split that double team? And then just an anticipation that was not there from LaQuinton Ross. Q didn't move to the ball, thrown out of bounds, and a turnover, the end result.
going back big picture, and listen, there's still plenty of time, but this game from a barometer standpoint really will help Bill Self and Thad Matta. They're going to be able to show their guys what has to happen if you want to get back to the Final Four, who has to improve and where.
Young with the dump down to Williams. Rejected by Williams. Well, we're seeing some significant signs of Amir Williams growing up.
He's a presence inside, and that's something that has to happen and continue to be a factor for Ohio State. Defensively, he's gotten a couple of putbacks, so he's shown well for himself here.
Again, McLemore. High flying above the rim.
Well, I know one thing that needs to be addressed. Baseline, out of bounds defense. Crystal clear.
You just cannot count on getting 7 points from baseline out of bounds. That's the least score to want to play. It should be from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, coaches are saying stealing points that way, fellas. And again, the perimeter jumper not going for Ohio State. The last 6, though, have come from McLemore for KU. And the Buckeyes have now missed their last 7 3-point attempts. And Withy back on the deck makes it more difficult to challenge the rim.
Getting back to Amir Williams, though, one of the areas where I'd like to see, what I'd do if I were him, I'd go watch film of Jeff Withy, because his game is very similar. Then we take a look at this out-of-bounds play again, the 3rd time this game, a beautiful screen. And honestly, if you're Amir Williams, you got to be a rim protector in this situation.
Well, he had his body. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. He had his body on Jeff Withy, but that's a case of not seeing and being aware.
Elijah Johnson, by way of Las Vegas, Nevada, Cheyenne High School. Now, Thursday on CBS, catch the hit drama Elementary and see why it's TV's #1 new show. Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu star in Elementary, Thursday only CBS. (64-52), largest lead of the day for Kansas, a 15-4 run.
And it's been a very methodical run, Tim. Surgeon-like in terms of the half-court execution.
LaQuinton Ross. And Withy another rebound. Ohio State, you might recall they came up short in the latter stages of that game against Duke. Same story here, but this collapse has been more an entire half, not just the closing moments. Withy. Again, Williams right there with him defensively.
It is, but you got to go back to what's really been the culprit for me is the inability of Ohio State to create turnovers. They have not been able to get in transition. Offensively, they're going to struggle in the half court here, and the beautiful play by Amir Williams on that block. but they're going to have to up the ante defensively moving forward to create easy baskets as they develop offensively.
Johnson leaving it for Withy, and he missed the chippy. Now Shannon Scott is back on the floor with Kraft. Let's see if these two can mix it up a little bit. They did in the first half. They have not in the second.
That's a possession. They don't recognize the mismatch there. They had Deshaun Thomas on Elijah Johnson, and they decided to go away from it.
Smith, little floater. Again, well defended by Young. Ohio State just 2 field goals in the last 15 minutes of this game. And the KU defense has been suffocating.
Well, we talk about this being a benchmark game for both teams. What we're seeing in Kansas, an experienced and efficient team at both ends of the floor.
And now they're milking the clock with each possession. But a layup missed by McLemore. Door is still open, but time is winding down. Kraft just not there, and they look like tired jump shots. They're coming off the front iron almost always.
Well, it's a combination of fatigue and the fact that you haven't seen the ball go in. That can deflate your adrenaline as well when you've had such an extended drought.
If you didn't think Kansas was one of the elite teams this year, you're finding out right now that they are. They lead by a dozen.
For drivers like these who demand the most from their tires. And everything we've learned making these tires inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven.
We're at Walmart with the Simmons family. How much is your current phone bill?
$416.76 a month.
Okay, come with me. We're going to save you money.
Okay.
With Straight Talk at Walmart, you get unlimited talk, text, and data for only $45 a month per phone.
Will we get the same coverage?
Same coverage on America's best network.
So you saved $146.76 by switching to Straight Talk.
Awesome.
Now you can afford to share your allowance with me. Get the season's hottest smartphones like the Samsung Galaxy S2 and get Straight Talk with unlimited data for just $45 a month from America's gift headquarters, Walmart.
What do we call ourselves?
The Gangster Squad.
These cops come out of nowhere. Just gotta put them down.
I have only one rule. Leave these at home.
Your days are over.
Is that right?
Can I take me away from all this?
I was just hoping to take you to bed.
Can't shoot me. You're a cop.
Not anymore.
Gangster Squad. Rated R. January 11th.
All the people, they're looking at me. 'Cause they see that I'm free. All the people, they're looking at me. 'Cause they
The new SoundLink Mobile 2. Bluetooth connectivity, grab-and-go portability. And now, with deeper, more powerful sound, you can only get from Bose.
It's playoff pressure. For Cincy, a win and they're in. For Pittsburgh, a loss and they're out. While Denver goes for a shot at a first-round bye. Sunday on CBS.
Tonight on CBS begins with back-to-back new episodes of Made in Jersey, followed by 48 Hours. Tonight, only CBS. Tim Brando, Greg Anthony, Clark Kellogg. You look at our game reset. Ohio State needs as many possessions as it can get. And right now on a tie ball, Kansas would get the ball. 2.5 remaining, and the Buckeyes trail by 12.
Well, I'm going to beg to differ with your partner. They're getting enough possessions.
Yeah.
They need some buckets. they got to get that ball through the basket or get to the free throw line. They are just struggling offensively.
And give Kansas credit.
Yes.
I mean, they've done a nice job taking away the primary option for Ohio State, which is the leading scorer for the Buckeyes, Deshaun Thomas. Between Relaford and McLemore on occasion.
Scott sneaking out and is blocked away beautifully by McLemore, who's just been everywhere. He and Withy have been the two players that Ohio State simply could not account for it.
And it won't be just Ohio State that won't be able to account for those two.
That's true.
I mean,
yeah.
They're going to be a migraine matchup for just about every team they face.
Linzel Smith with a little fall away, feathery J, the soft paw, and a quick timeout taken by Thad Matta.
Timeout, Ohio State.
64-54, still plenty of time in Columbus.
All right, if you're thinking about getting a new truck, you're probably thinking about fuel economy. Well, you're going to want some torque to go with it. Because unless you're using your truck to deliver pizzas, you ain't getting anything done without it. Torque is power. It pulls trailers, hauls dirt, drags boulders. Torque is what gets the cap off your beer. And only the Ford F-150 with EcoBoost has the best combination of torque and fuel economy. Think about that. Introducing the new 2013 F-150.
Tomorrow, it's the NFL on CBS. It's you in the middle of the playoff picture, regional action. That's right, including a game that matters that you'll be watching, I know. And it all begins with the NFL Today. Dan, Coach, Shannon, and Boomer on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. And obviously, Big Ben and the Steelers taking on the Bengals, the one that you'll be keeping a watchful eye on.
I am going to have a bit of an interest. Might be trivial, the interest I have in that game.
Ohio State, if they can somehow get a stop here and convert very much right back in it. Kansas is going to be very methodical here. No reason to rush. They'll maximize as much of this shot clock as possible.
Oh, there's Kraft doing what he does naturally.
Yeah, and as much as we've talked about Ohio State's issues offensively, their defense is giving them a chance in this basketball.
Oh, they got Smith over the back. Was that an over the back? I think it may have been. It was. Thad Matta is in disbelief. I thought that was a long rebound. Looked like it might be clean, but a call that goes the other way, and Kansas gets to the free throw line.
And it is the double bonus, Tim.
That's right.
For the Jayhawks.
2 shots for Young. But you could almost see that in that sequence, what you were talking about earlier, when the shots aren't falling, even Deshaun Thomas aimed that shot. It wasn't his normal stroke.
That's right. That's what happens. When you don't see it go in and it's prolonged, it can deflate you in a number of ways.
It's contagious. Very similar to that Butler second half in the national championship game a few years ago, a couple of years back. They just could not find it. How about that win you got to witness last week, Clark? Was that special?
It sure was. Traveling on Thomas as he tried to rush inside.
You know, in a lot of ways, Kansas was a bit of a surprise making it last year, although Robinson was an outstanding player. Is this team, in your mind, is built for this season's Final Four, don't you think?
Well, I always start, excuse me, Greg, I always start looking at the landscape of who else is out there that could possibly get to Atlanta. And when you look at Kansas, they're one of the top 4 or 5 candidates to be there, clearly.
You know, it's interesting also. You look at Kansas, you could argue, well, they're not as talented, but I say it all the time. You don't win with the 5 best players. You win with the 5 that play best together. And this group, from a chemistry standpoint, has a great understanding of why they win. And that's something as a coach you feel confident about because he trusts that they're going to make the right decisions as the game progresses.
It helps when your senior leader, a guy like Travis Relaford, is as unselfish as he is. And a guy like Withy is as unselfish as he is.
Right.
McLemore, in terms of just outright talent, is likely the best player on the floor. And he's impacted so much by these complimentary seniors. As you look at the upcoming schedule they have, and that Temple game will be on CBS. That's a Sunday game. Temple beating Syracuse today. Khalif Wyatt was just off the charts with 30.
Actually, I think he went with 33. I think it was 33.
Denying Boeheim his 901st career win. Kraft could not convert the layup. Well defended again. Nothing easy. And the free throw show continues with 61 seconds left after the foul by Amir Williams, his 4th. This is a Big Ten conference, though, fellas, that is easily the best in the country, don't you think? Without a doubt, it's got to be the best league in America.
Well, on paper, it looks that way, and I don't see any reason why that would change as we get into January. When you look at Michigan and Illinois and Minnesota and Indiana, Michigan State, Iowa's I mean, it's going to be a real crucible going through that conference.
Name a league that has 3 point guards playing any better than Burke, Kraft, or Paul of Illinois. I mean, you can't go too deep into any conference and find 3 better point guards.
You really can't.
Scott almost stripped by Relaford. Smith from downtown. Scott gets the offensive rebound. Kraft from downtown. He rams it home. An 8-point game, 44 ticks left. Hold on.
Sales are at an all-time low, but kissing is at an all-time high. I want answers.
Oh, right. K.
It's true. Every kiss does begin with K, where you can save up to 30% on these diamond fashions at K, the #1 jewelry store in America.
Oh, right.
Every kiss begins with K.
Tomorrow on the CBS Sports Spectacular, it's a look towards the 2013 season plus highlights of 2012, including racing, freestyle, and a recap of Monster Jam World Finals and Monster Jam Path of Destruction events on Advanced Auto Parts Monster Jam 2013 preview, Date with Destruction. As you look at our game reset, yes, Kansas is in the double bonus, but no, it really hasn't helped. They're 12 of 22, and that's helping Ohio State hang around.
Well, again, big picture too, Clark. That's one of the areas you got to be concerned, because as you move further in conference play along with the tournament, you have to have the ability to make those free throws here. Let's see if Kansas can do it down the stretch.
10 teams, what do you see?
Baylor, #3 entrepreneurship program in the country.
Iowa State, #2 in bio and ag engineering.
Kansas, #1 grad programs in city management and special ed.
Oklahoma, #1 in freshman national merit scholars.
Kansas State, top 10 for all scholarship programs, and Oklahoma State, nation's first advanced degree for unmanned aerial systems.
Texas, #2 producer of PhDs in the U.S.
TCU, top 10 in entrepreneurship.
Texas Tech, world recognized in wind engineering research.
West Virginia, tops in biometric research.
We got to go to break.
67-59 as you look at the game reset again. The Jayhawks have missed 4 free throws in the last minute and 46 seconds and were forced to call the timeout where they could not get the ball inbounded a moment ago. Not a foul, and they do Johnson. Well, we talked about the Big Ten and how strong a conference it is at the top. Michigan, you know, the thing that impresses me the most about them is John Beilein is playing differently, coaching differently with this very athletic team. And how about the way Tubby Smith's team and Tom Izzo's has come along, not to mention Coach Gross in Illinois. Michigan State, a big win against Texas earlier today.
And we don't even mention Indiana, who was #1 in the country preseason, and up until that terrific game you got to see firsthand, Clark. What a performance by Butler. Brad Stevens continues to get his guys to believe no matter who they face.
They do what they do, and they are very comfortable in their skin. And that's one of the qualities of any championship caliber team is, again, as you've talked about here today, understanding and accepting and embracing your roles, understanding how it is that we win, and then being able to go out there and do it no matter whether you're home or on the road. So a nice road win here, it looks like, for the Jayhawks, +10. Only 41 seconds to go.
Clark, what do you think Thad Matta is learning today about the chemistry and the style of play he's going to need to employ for Ohio State to compete with these guys?
Well, he clearly knows they're best when the pace is fast and they're able to disrupt the opponent defensively to create open court opportunities.
Ross gets the layup.
The other aspect, he knows he's going to have to continue to get post presence, and Amir Williams showed himself well in that regard. And at some point, this game is still about putting the ball in the basket. And you have to be able to do that with some consistency.
Aaron Craft's pressure just forced another turnover.
And he also knows that most teams don't have McLemore with him.
Right.
So as he goes to the conference play, He's not going to see that type of impact on the interior and the perimeter, and Ohio State will continue to improve.
Honoring legends and building leaders. It's been a Big Ten tradition for more than 100 years. We honor the legends who've given us moments we'll never forget. And building leaders? Well, that's about preparation for living a life of significance every single day.
Again, a reminder, tonight on CBS begins with back-to-back new episodes of Made in Jersey, followed by 48 Hours. Tonight, only CBS. And by the way, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to both of you.
And to you, Tim, and your lovely ladies.
And you know what, our entire production crew.
Absolutely.
And everybody watching, happy holidays.
Merry and blessed Christmas wishes to all.
And the road to the Final Four is officially here. And the guys in the truck, everyone that's involved in our coverage throughout the course of the year, from
you said
all
Merry
the
Christmas, right?
All the cable that
Happy Hanukkah,
all of
Happy
that.
Kwanzaa.
We covered it with Happy Holidays.
Yes.
Yeah, we get them all out there. I like to be specific though sometimes.
Yeah.
I just like to give a little personal love.
Agreed. You cannot say that enough. Does this mean I've got to pick up the check again next week?
Yeah, of course. I thought you knew.
Oh, man. They left that out in the seminar. There's Thomas, too strong. It was a well-designed play to get an open three for their best perimeter shooter, but sadly, that's been the tone of the entire second half. And Thomas with an air ball.
You know what, too? Oftentimes you see a team consistently miss these open shots, and you're saying what's wrong. A lot of shooting has to do with rhythm.
Yeah.
And defensively, Kansas has disrupted the timing and the spacing for Ohio State this entire game. So they've never felt comfortable making jump shots from the perimeter.
Jamari Traylor at the free throw line, and here's the Ohio State schedule. And of course, they take on all comers in a league that is so strong. After the non-conference game, it's Nebraska, then at Illinois, at Purdue. And by the way, Iowa is no layup either.